Hello, I'm Darren Rovell of the Action Network, and I am joined by Ryan Butler, who heads up our legalization coverage for the Action Network. Ryan, thanks so much for joining me today. We have a lot of work to do because there's a lot of things going on as usual in regard to legalization. We're at more than 24 states that have legalized sports gambling, and it is moving quickly. I want to get to really the news, which are the states that are either close to legalization, legalizing, not operational, or are going to be operational very soon. So let's go through up top what is close. Let's start with Arizona. A lot of deals being done. That came together remarkably quick. How close are we to actually someone placing a bet in the state?
Yeah, Darren, Arizona is, of all the craziness of 2021 for sports betting legalization, and it's been plenty, as you'll see pretty soon. Arizona is the big winner. An incredible turnaround, a really great job. Bipartisans worked through it, a lot of tribal involvement, a lot of actually professional sports teams. They really found a kind of a rare compromise deal that seems to really appease everybody, as we are really moving towards a September 9th launch. Right around that first weekend of football season. Arizona regulators are really working hard towards being live for that date. So still some work to be done. Unfortunately, this is a very long technical process on top of the actual legalization. But Arizona is really looking good, maybe the best of any of those states you mentioned. And we should have multiple operators, statewide mobile, no in-person registration, live at or around that early September date.
The other thing I was impressed with Arizona is they had their deals right away. They had the sports book at TPC Scottsdale. They had the deal with the Diamondbacks. So it's amazing to see how quick that was done. That's definitely the biggest surprise for me as well. Now let's talk about Louisiana. Louisiana is different from any other state in that they have it done by parishes. Explain this one to me.
Yeah, so a parish, and also for people who don't know, is the equivalent of a county in Louisiana. One of many things they do differently. But in 2020, voters approved at a parish by parish level, as you said, the first state to do that. The good news is it's 55 of the 64 parishes did so, including all of the 12 most populated.
So it's not like you're going to be driving in and out of parishes to cash your bet out.
Right, unless maybe in your kind of the very rural areas. If you're in New Orleans, if you're in Baton Rouge, or you're really anywhere within New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, any of the other great Louisiana cities, you're going to be able to place a bet. It's also a really well done structure. There's going to be up to 41 possible options once we're up and running. Louisiana has not quite been as crisp as Arizona, but that's more so a testament to Arizona than it is a slight at Louisiana. Obviously, football crazy. College betting is allowed, which is huge, where LSU is by far and away the most important sport, the biggest sport there. Number two is whatever SEC football team is playing the week. So it's a big deal, but yeah, they know how important football season is nationwide, but especially in Louisiana. I expect to see, again, multiple sports books up and running, maybe not quite that first weekend, but I know they're working towards it. And I would be surprised if we don't go too far into the football season without seeing Louisiana sports betting live and legal.
All right, let me go to Maryland. Maryland is a surprise only to me because Maryland, I did not think Maryland would come before Massachusetts. Massachusetts, the home of DraftKings, still can't get their act together. East Coast states are under tremendous pressure because now you have, and we'll get to Connecticut, but obviously you have, New Jersey, Buffalo, number one, Pennsylvania, number three, those states, and how quickly you can travel to those by car makes it harder to be an East Coast state without betting, and there's a lot of pressure. Let's talk about Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland fills in that sort of I-95 mid-Atlantic corridor. And to your point, it is so critical. Several 100,000 Marylanders cross into D.C. and Virginia, and vice versa each day.
D.C. and Virginia are not, well, certainly D.C. is with how Intralot is running, the lottery is running that. The in-person, the radius around the stadiums. I mean, it is like, okay, Virginia's okay, but it's not exactly the greatest situation. So Maryland can then improve on that.
Virginia is at least statewide mobile, which is good. You, Darren, we've been to the William Hill Sportsbook. As impressive as it is, no retail sportsbook should be beating a mobile app. Intralot is, the Gambet app is wonky, to say the least. But yes, Maryland is really in great position, both with their structure. They're allowing up to 60 online licenses, which we call skins, which would be the most capped, the highest total of any state in the country. Doesn't mean we're going to have all 60. Doesn't mean we're going to have all 60 anytime soon. But it does mean that every single big player, basically any sportsbook operator you have thought of wants in your state, is going to be there. And also, Darren, one other thing about Maryland too, highest per capita income of any state in the country.
Get out of here. I did not know that.
Yes, high college educated as well. Also professional sports teams, though their population isn't as big as New Jersey or Pennsylvania, per capita or per person, I think every operator, everyone is so interested in Maryland, not just because every bordering state and city has sports betting, but you have almost the ideal demographics for what should really be a big, successful, at least per person market.
Connecticut is one of those where I think in our initial projections, I think we had them in 2023 initially. And that's because, again, these sovereign agreements where the tribes are uncomfortable with doing, well, we thought, doing anything to give up anything other than what they have now, which is just control over what they have. Connecticut, of course, Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, and the two tribes that run it, they somehow got together and did deals with DraftKings and FanDuel.
Yeah, and Darren, even more impressive is they got a deal with the lottery. We have really hardly ever seen a deal where very influential tribes in Connecticut, those two tribes are some of the most powerful casino operators in the country, tribal or commercial or otherwise. But through credit to Governor Ned Lamont, who was really credited by lawmakers during this whole process. Also, the tribes, their leadership are really just have really championed good policy in every respect. Plus, a good job by the Connecticut Lottery. It took years. And it took, but it was actually quicker than many of us anticipated. The downside for Connecticut sports bettors is it will only be 3 sports books. One will be DraftKings, one will be FanDuel, one will be announced maybe as early as this month, which will partner with the state lottery. But at least it's something, and it's better than maybe a year ago, maybe 6 months ago. We thought there'd be nothing.
So it looks like we'll have maybe 28, 30 states that could be operational by either football season or during football season, and then a couple more dribbling in that we see at least on the horizon in 2022. Ryan Butler, thanks for taking us around the nation and legalization. Make sure everyone who listens to this and watches this goes to the Action Network and reads all of Ryan's stories. He's the best at doing this, and I thank him for it, because originally I had to cover this, and it is a grind, man. It is a grind, but it needs to be done, and I know everyone in all these states appreciates you.
Well, thank you, Darren. I appreciate it. This is cathartic for me, too. It helps kind of to speak all this out and try to help me wrap my head around it.